that we give back. So we see and show someone where love lies. Even if you don't give a damn, give your heart and share your time. Help somebody else in life. Give back. Let's give back.
Welcome to another segment of Ignite, Empower, Transform, where we showcase some of our superheroes, people dedicated to the upliftment of our communities and more especially our children. In this episode, we have the opportunity to speak with Mr. Lucena. Mr. Lucena, how you doing this evening? Good to have you on the show. So we want to start right out with you telling us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, so I'm Nelson Lucena. I was a music teacher for many years, but I went to the public schools growing up, and it was all public schools until I went to college, which was the School of Visual Arts. But in School of Visual Arts, I was doing filmmaking, and it kind of gave me an opportunity to open my eye to what was going on with my community.
Okay.
I grew up in the projects, and I realized that there was problems coming from all directions.
You grew up in the projects in the Bronx?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And so by 1981, we had Reagan as our president, and he was threatening to take away our public housing and sell it to private interests. So I made a film basically to show, okay, let's find out what's going on with the housing, public housing at that time.
Okay. What was the name of your film?
It was called Blind Rage.
Blind Rage.
And it was my thesis. I needed to do a thesis to graduate, so
Okay.
I did this film where basically I just show what is going on the grounds of
Gotcha.
Soundview. And you could see that it wasn't being kept by maintenance. It was being neglected also by the tenants themselves, who were littering all over the place. The lawns were just filled with garbage that there was no other way it could have gotten there but by the tenants. But anyway, I just wanted to really make an objective eye looking into the projects and interview the tenants as well as the resident association president, as well as go to Washington, D.C., because we had a rally. It was the Poor People's Movement back then. And we wanted to save our houses.
Gotcha.
And our housing. And so from that point on, I knew that there was a problem that we need to get active on. And so I did become a teacher after that. And as a teacher, I was teaching music. And through music, I improved academics as well as building character that was, for the most part, being neglected. Because you know that the arts are always
So let me ask you. So the theme of the program is Ignite, Empower, and Transform.
Right.
So I'm listening to what you're saying. It sounds like there's a lot of that in there.
Right.
So briefly tell me, how did you take your experience living in the Bronx and translate it to an ignition to your community?
Well, basically, I really started the Ignite, Power, and Transform mostly when Mr. Gavan, who was the guidance counselor at our school, said, look, there's something going on in our communities. It's getting worse and worse every year. There's gunfire, there's rampant gunfire that kills innocent people. There was a 4-year-old, his name was Lloyd Morgan, who was shot.
Random gunfire.
Yeah, and he was killed right next to the school where I work, which was 198 on Tinton Avenue and 168th Street. So we decided, okay, we need to find a way to get positive role models, especially men.
So you guys started a program, and I'm familiar with the program. There's a National Give Back for Kids campaign, and there's also the Alpha Eagles Boys Club. So what part do you play in those organizations?
Okay, as a matter of fact, there's a program with the Scouts. We attached ourselves to the Scouts, so I became a Scout leader.
And what's the name of this Scout troop?
This is the Troop 777. It's Cub Scouts.
Okay.
But we also have Boy Scouts and we also have Girl Scouts.
So you're empowering these young men.
Yes.
Well, if you're spending time with them when no one else will, or there's limited, then you absolutely are. We commend you for that. What are the ages of these young men, and where do you find them? Where do they come from?
Well, a lot of them come from the very school. Right now, the campus is 198, but we have schools that are 463 and also 212 that are in the building. So they can either be students in either one of those schools, and or they can be students that graduated from the school, or just brothers or siblings of those that are in the school, but the parents decided that this is a good program. And
So it's a community outreach as
and
well.
so basically, we're reaching out to the community. It
Very good.
It's not limited to who's a student in the school.
Very good. I see. So how is the parent involvement? Are the parents pretty involved in it?
That's like the most exciting piece, especially as of late, because when we created the spring basketball league, we got the fathers really into it, and
Okay.
this is another degree of empowerment that's very important. Not only do we empower the students, but we began to empower those parents.
Okay.
So now they do have a definition. They're definitely community leaders now because they become coaches.
Right.
Now it's not Mr. Gold, the father of so-and-so that's on the block, but now it's Mr. Gold, the coach. He's Coach Gold.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
So you're actually handling this twofold then within the Alpha Eagles Boys Club. It's actually empowering the kids, the children, to
Right.
understand that they can do more with themselves and within their communities, and at the same time, as you just stated, you're giving these dads who were written off at some point,
Right.
some of them,
Right.
and you're giving them the ability to build their character and their esteem back up and become something that helps.
Right, and they become now certain like pillars of the community.
Fantastic.
And when the pillars are there, there's a new level
Right.
to the community.
Right.
And that's basically where we get to the next phase, which is the transformation. We're transforming that community. We're transforming what it used to be, that neighborhood, into something new. It's got more love in it. It's got more positive energy. It's got more positive role models.
Right.
It's it's lifting.
Gotcha.
And that's a beautiful thing.
So how often are you with these children? How often is the program run?
Well, regularly on Saturdays we'll do it. It may not be every single Saturday, but we do different things too. It's not always the same program.
Gotcha.
On a Saturday, there could be times when we go in and there's speakers that are invited. We could have town hall meetings. Sometimes we also have activities. Of course, the basketball league.
Okay.
Now, and we've also incorporated over the years trips which were wonderful because the trips to the Botanical Gardens train show. We've had trips to Yankee Stadium to watch a game or two.
Okay.
We've had trips to college campuses and for basketball games that,
Okay.
on the college level as well, and speakers from the college as well, Jim.
So the reason I ask this question is because we know the efforts take finances, and we know no one's necessarily making money for this, but it has to be taken care of some kind of way because you're giving the community something
Right.
they need. And it's good that you can identify politicians and community leaders that have decided this program, the Alpha Eagles Boys Club, or even if it's the National Give Back for Kids campaign, people are volunteering time. Because as we know, the campaign does not ask people for money. It asks you
Right.
for time and energy
Yeah.
to give back to these kids.
So that's really the primary source of what makes a difference in what we're doing. It really is.
Sounds good. So what kind of message do you want to deliver to people who are just considering? They're kind of standing outside and they say, I want to do something, I just don't know how.
Well, they have to understand, first of all, it's our responsibility. We can't look at the generation that's coming to take our place eventually, take all of the responsibility. We have to let them know this is the direction that you should go, and we lead by example.
All right, lay some groundwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lay the groundwork, send out that positive energy, and make some time, because if you don't make any time, you can't complain in the end. You can't say that this shouldn't have happened and it's going all in the wrong direction and I don't know why. And
Right.
You should know why. It's
Right.
because we need more involvement.
Gotcha. So, our climate, in our communities, things, and we touched on it right at the beginning about, little Lloyd and the unfortunate incident that happened with him. We talk about, giving our children something to look forward to in terms of programs like this. How are the children responding? That's probably the most important part. We know we're doing our part to be present, but how are they responding?
Well, they are excited for the most part. They show up for every event that they can. Sometimes there are things that may come up on a Saturday that keep them from coming in, whether it be illness or something else that's happening at home. But once they're there, they are into it. They are definitely excited, especially about the basketball, but now they're also getting excited about the Scouts.
Right.
We've taken them to the Camp Alpine, and that was a new experience for most of them.
Okay.
And this is something that they look forward to being able to wear a uniform,
Gotcha.
or being on that basketball team and just knowing that they're in a team. And the excitement during the games is the greatest thing, because they were so well balanced with regard to the 4 teams that we set up, so that when we start the tournament, the games have been so tight that we have to go into overtime just about every time.
Yes.
Just about every time. And they are playing with such skills. And so you can see that they have become empowered. You can see that they've transformed too, because they're learning how to be team members. They're learning how to be community members, automatically. It comes hand in hand. When you can work as a team, then you can definitely build toward being a cooperative and significant member of a community.
Fantastic. It sounds good. It's always good to hear these kind of stories, because the communities are always viewed as such rough and tumble, and most of those children are looked past. One of the things that I want you to speak about is some of the main individuals that have started these programs, and what they're doing to keep them going.
Well, I mentioned Jose Gavan. He's definitely at the center. He's like the one really guiding the rest of us. I'm a board member myself. His wife, Rachel Cheeks Gavan, as well as even little Rebecca, the daughter, is involved.
So it's a family affair.
Yeah, and there's also a fraternity that has been involved, the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity that Mr. Gavan has been able to use the members to come in and serve as mentoring, or mentors rather, to the boys for years, since the beginning of this program, which was back in like 2013 or so. And so these members have come in and helped by setting new examples of what men can grow up to be.
And as I understand, a lot of the men that have volunteered to be mentors or be a support system to the boys and to the program, as I understand, a lot of them grew up in these same areas.
Exactly.
Which shows, you can have that rose growing from the concrete.
Exactly.
Now, do these young boys that are part of the program, do they understand this? Are they being taught this?
We drive it into them every opportunity we can get.
Okay.
We make sure we let them know, look, I come from the same background. We talked about even Colin Powell, as big a name as he is, and a bit an important figure he is to our country, as well as the fraternity. And we said, look, he grew up in the Bronx too, in this very same area.
Right.
So if he can do it,
everybody
else can do it. And so we have just numerous examples, and we keep driving that in. We say, look, you got to know, this is not the end. This doesn't just lead to one road. One road, I'm sorry. You got to know that you create a goal, and then when you've got that goal in your sight, it creates a path. And whenever there is something that entices you to perhaps go off that path, then wait a minute, it's not consistent with my goal. I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to stay on the path to feedback.
And we should all feel that way.
All right.
Nelson, it was a pleasure talking with you today. Welcome back to another segment of Ignite, Empower, Transform, where this time we have a guest by the name of Rachel Gavan. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Larry.
Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Rachel, I'd like to start out with you telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Larry, I wear a number of hats. I'm the board chair for the National Give Back for Kids campaign. That's where my passion is. But I'm also the